Welcome to the space between two lines. I'm Alex Saunders, and this is a space for real, honest conversations about fertility, pregnancy loss, and the journey to parenthood. Here, we hear the stories of people navigating the highs, the lows, and everything in between. A place to feel seen, understood, and less alone. Because every story matters, and so does yours. Today's episode shares Jaide's story, a journey that began with a DOR diagnosis at just 21 years old. After falling pregnant quickly, she experienced the heartbreak of a molar pregnancy loss, followed by years of countless cycles, uncertainty, and navigating infertility alongside a FIFO partner. In 2025, Jaide made the brave decision to begin the egg donor process. And today, she has 4 embryos waiting in the freezer. And with them, a renewed sense of hope. This is a conversation about grief, resilience, and redefining what the path to motherhood can look like. Welcome to the podcast, Jaide. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story today.
Thank you for having me.
Would you like to start by introducing yourself to our audience and just telling us a little bit about what your life looks like at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm Jaide. I'm 25, recently married to my high school sweetheart. We've got 2 fur babies, and other than that, not much interesting in life.
Did you want to take us back to when you first decided that you wanted to have a baby?
Yeah, so I guess for me, it starts really early. So I always knew there was a chance of not being able to have a baby because we have a very rare genetic condition that runs on my mum's side. So mum has it, a few cousins have it. She had always kind of educated me that there was a chance I might not be able to have a baby with my own eggs. But we didn't really explore that early on when we probably should have. So when I was 16, I just went to my GP and said, look, I don't really have periods. I'm already worried. Can I be tested? Which would have just been the AMH blood test. But she came back and told me I was too young. She actually said that I shouldn't even be having sex because I was so young.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess I was a little bit naive, went away, didn't think much about it, and I left it too long.
Yep.
And then when I was 21, it was actually a girl at work, and she was just like, oh, you can have your AMH tested. You can just do that through the GP. So I did that, I think, December 2021. And then I got a call from the fertility clinic. They ended up taking the result to the fertility clinic. I kept ignoring the calls because I was so worried about what it would be. One day, I think it was January 2022, I decided to answer, and it was a bad result. It was devastating.
Yeah. Okay. So what was the genetic condition called that your mum had and then passed on to you?
Yeah. So to put it short, it's BPES. So essentially, when you're developing in the womb, your eyes and your ovaries develop at the same time. And
Yeah.
it's a deletion on a gene. Not sure exactly how it works. It's very rare. There's not much research into it. But it affects your ovaries, so you're born with less eggs. And it causes, like premature ovarian failure.
Okay. And could you test to see if you had that gene, or is it pretty much guaranteed that it would be carried on?
It's a 50-50.
Yeah.
You can be tested. I was never officially tested, but reports from I guess pediatrician when I was a child said there was a strong possibility I had it because I had characteristics of the disorder.
Yeah. Okay. So once you'd received that information, number one, how did you process that? And then what were the next steps for you moving forward?
I didn't process it well. I was devastated, and I kind of was like an emu with their head in the ground. I just didn't do anything about it. I let it be. Yeah, it was hard to take on because I always knew it was a possibility, but I think I didn't realize how big that possibility was.
And it's such a young age to process that, or to, be thinking about children as well, is a lot. So yeah, that's totally understandable. Once you kind of had processed that information, or you decided, okay, I, want to move forward or do something about my fertility, were you given advice from the fertility clinic? And what did, I guess, the next few years after that look like for you?
They pretty much straight away said donor eggs. I said no.
Mhm.
I said that I wanted to give it a shot myself first. That did warn me that, statistically it wasn't going to be a good chance. But I think, January 2022, we were waiting for my period because I had been put on like the depot injection for contraception.
Yep.
Didn't get a period after that. So I think it was maybe February or March. They put me on the pill and we went into an OI cycle.
Okay. Do you want to just explain what that is for anyone who doesn't know?
Yeah, so OI for me personally, I think it can be a little bit different. But I had letrozole from like the first day of my period, I think 5 days, which kind of helps. I think depletes your estrogen so the follicles grow, and then once you stop taking it, your estrogen goes up to help mature those follicles.
Yeah. Okay. And did that work for you?
It did. So I had a nice big follicle the first round, but it's COVID. So like right at ovulation time. So they said, still try at home, still have sex.
Yeah.
But that did come back negative, which I kind of expected. It was our first round. I had COVID. I was sick.
Yeah.
And then I guess the devastating part was having to wait 6 weeks. And back then I thought 6 weeks was massive. And that's 4 years ago.
Yeah. But it is a long time when you're in the fertility world and, you want to be trying for something quickly. Being told you have to wait weeks feels like a lifetime at the time, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. At that end of the 6 weeks, we did another OI cycle and it worked.
Yeah. So did the clinic monitored your cycle? So they did blood tests and scans?
Yes, very intense, like blood tests like every 2 days. And I think I had maybe like 5 scans a cycle.
And did you do a trigger shot or did you naturally ovulate?
No, I had to have a trigger shot.
So then the ovulation worked for you?
Yes. So second cycle, I think it was after having COVID, that cycle, it was about July. And I got pregnant.
Okay.
At first, we didn't know if I was pregnant because we tested early from like day 3 post trigger.
Yeah.
So we had to test the trigger out. And for some people, I know it goes away, like the line goes away and then it comes back, but mine never went away. It just got darker every day. So didn't officially know I was pregnant until blood test.
That was like 2 weeks later after you ovulated?
I got in early because I called them and I was like, my test is positive. Like, can I come in earlier? And they were like, yeah.
Yeah. So how old are you at this point?
25. Oh, sorry. I was 21 at the time.
Okay. So you're 21. So this is a really big decision to make at 21 as well, to be having a baby too. So how was that conversation? I just kind of want to go back. How did you have that conversation with your partner? And did you both feel ready for that at the time?
No. So he had known, like I was very open about the genetic condition and the possibility of not having kids. But when we got that call about the AMH, because he was home and he heard me cry because I was in another room, we kind of spoke about it and we both weren't ready to have kids, but we knew if we wanted the chance at using my own eggs, it was like now or never. So yeah, we weren't ready, but we knew that there was no other choice.
Yeah, you kind of had to be. All right. So then you found out that you were pregnant. Did you want to talk us through what happened next?
Yeah, so quite long and complicated. Only maybe a week after the HCG blood test, I had spotting. So I got worried. I called the clinic. I said, I have spotting and cramps. Can I have another blood test? They said yes, went in straight away. My HCG was extremely high, like in the thousands, but progesterone was falling. So they put me on progesterone supplementation because they said that is a sign like miscarriage.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to wait for a scan because it was a weekend. They don't do scans on weekends. And then I think I went in like maybe Monday and they did a scan and essentially just told me that there was no fetus at all.
Okay. How many weeks were you when you had that scan?
I would have been about 6. It became very complicated from there. So we went home thinking there was no baby at all. We were devastated. The next day, we got a phone call from another specialist at our fertility clinic saying, you need to go to the emergency room right now. We think you're having a molar pregnancy.
Did you want to talk us through what a molar pregnancy is?
Yeah, so there's 2 kinds. There's complete molar, which is where an egg with no DNA gets fertilized. So no fetus, but essentially the placenta becomes like cystic and it still grows and it has the potential to become cancerous.
Okay.
So it's very dangerous and you need to have it removed like
Yeah.
straight away. straight away, yeah. And then partial molar is where an egg with DNA gets fertilized by 2 sperm, so it has 3 sets of DNA. So it's a kind of trisomy, I'm not sure which one. So there's still a fetus, but yeah, 3 sets of DNA, so it's generally not a viable pregnancy.
So, yeah, you had a partial, yeah. And so do you go straight to the emergency room?
Yes, unfortunately had to sit in emergency with a bunch of pregnant ladies from like
Awful.
odds. It was horrible.
I can imagine.
And then my clinic refused for some reason to send over our blood work and scan I'd had done. So fortunately, they gave me another scan and there was a fetus with a beating heart on the screen.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Wow.
And then from there, it was kind of like back and forth, a little bit blurry, to be honest, because it was so, I don't even know how to explain it. It was, being told there's no fetus to the next day, there's a fetus with a heart rate, but you're still presenting with what looks like a molar pregnancy. So I think I was scanned from there. There was no course of action. They didn't have an answer for me because molar pregnancy is so rare. So it was just scanning every week to see how the fetus went. And then I think at about 9.5 weeks on one of the scans, there was no heart rate.
Okay. And then, so that was confirmed that it was a molar pregnancy then?
Yeah, so I had to have a D&C due to the molar tissue because of that risk of cancer. So I had a D&C, they sent that for testing. Testing came back inconclusive, so definitely a molar, but they couldn't tell if it was a twin pregnancy and one pregnancy was like a normal fetus and then one was molar, or if it was partial.
Okay.
So they did more testing and that came back inconclusive still. So they just ruled it as a complete to be safe because you have to have a strict follow-up for 12 months after.
For 12 weeks?
12 months.
12 months after, okay. And is that scanning, getting scans done?
No, so it's just HCG to make sure that it goes down because I think at the time of my D&C at 9 weeks, my HCG was like 120,000. So it was very high.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
So they test each week to make sure that it goes down.
Yeah. So does that mean for 12 months you can't try and conceive, or are you able to keep moving forward?
They suggest that you don't try to conceive. We ended up fighting them on it. And at 6 months, I signed paperwork to discharge myself because my HCG had gone down really nicely and had been negative for like 5 months. So I was like, look, I want to discharge myself. I'm already short on time.
Yeah.
I would start trying for a baby again.
So when going through all of that and once you'd received that news and then to be told that you have to wait 12 months originally and you probably didn't really know what that was going to look like, how did you cope at that time and what were the feelings like around that?
To be honest, I don't really know what I felt. I think I shut off. Because we got pregnant so quickly, I thought that it was going to be easy again. And then having to wait that time. But I think I was actually okay. I went about my day as normal. I mean, grieving the fact that we had lost a pregnancy. I was hopeful that it was going to happen again really quickly for us. This was just a very rare occurrence. It was fortunate, but it was going to happen quickly. So I was still naively positive.
And then so once you've discharged yourself, is that pretty easy to do? Did you need another doctor to sign that off for you, like a fertility doctor, or can you just make that decision on your own?
I just had to have a meeting with the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctors just gave me a bunch of information on molar pregnancy, and I basically had to sign a paper saying that I had read it and understood the risks associated.
So then you've signed yourself off. Is it doing a repeat of what you had done before to try and get pregnant, or what did things look like from there?
Yeah, we didn't go straight back into OI. Ended up moving clinics. I guess there was just a little bit of trauma at that from them saying there was no baby and just the scans that didn't want to go back there.
Just on that, was there any, did they give you a reason that that happened? Because within a day, it seems quite odd that there could be two completely different results.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why we left.
Yeah.
We couldn't really give an explanation, and they just told me that the fetus must have gone overnight, which I was like, that doesn't happen. So we weren't really confident in them, so that's why we decided to move.
Yeah, that's totally fair. All right, so you've moved clinics, and then what were the next steps?
This new specialist, she suggested donor egg. She said that we could try IVF. She said because of the long time between the pregnancy and then the waiting, she said we could try OI, but IVF was the best bet. But even then, it was still a low chance. So we went straight into an IVF cycle. I think this was March 2023, and that was unsuccessful. So after I think about 20 days of injections, I only had one follicle.
Can you do additional rounds, or did they say to you that was kind of it? Like what?
She said we could do additional rounds with different medication, but the cycle I had just done, I was already on max dose. Like, I think I was taking Gonal F. She said it was the highest you can take. So she said it was likely to be the same outcome, even if it was with another medication. So from there, we kind of just went into silence and I guess being a little bit down and sad. And we didn't do any for a while because we were processing that it was, likely we weren't going to have a baby with my eggs.
Like, what were your feelings around that, knowing obviously, like, you've had a partner for a long time and you both want to have kids together? Like, I guess, how did that feel for you, knowing that might not happen for you guys?
Yeah, it was devastating. I felt like a failure as a woman. I felt like the one thing that it's not the one thing. I hate when people say that, but what we're genetically made to do. I wasn't capable of doing that, and I knew how badly my partner wanted to be a dad. So I felt like I was failing him as well. So I was really hard on myself. At the beginning, we weren't open to the idea of using a donor. I was just kind of like, well, if it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen.
And was he quite supportive throughout? I mean, you'd been through a lot to get to this point. You're up to what, 2023? Was he supportive throughout that time? What was your relationship like?
Yeah, no, he was definitely supportive, always there for me. I think for himself, though, he kind of bottled up and didn't express how he was feeling. And then he would have moments where it would all just come out. And yeah, it was hard to see. I felt horrible.
Yeah, so understandable. And I think any relationship going through any kind of fertility treatment, it's always like a pressure cooker no matter what. So could
Yeah,
imagine there was a lot of emotions throughout that time. Yeah, it's a hard thing to go through.
yeah.
Okay, so you've got married recently as well, is that right?
Yeah, October last year.
Okay, so you decided maybe we'll just put the thought of baby aside and get married and kind of move on with life for right now?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And then at what point did you start thinking about donor eggs?
It would have been 2024. So my partner was doing FIFO work for a while. So I was tracking my own cycles at home. I don't know why, because I knew it wasn't going to happen. So the whole of 2024 was on the back burner. We didn't think about it at all. He was away most of the time. And then January 2025, we were like, look, we want a baby. Let's look at the donor path. So we booked in to see a specialist. And she said, yep, I think that's great. That's got a really high likelihood for you. You can either recruit eggs from overseas or you can try and find someone you know. So then we started the process of trying to find someone to donate for us.
So when you're trying to find somebody to get a donor egg from, I assume that there is a lot involved in that, not only just trying to find someone, but then also the paperwork and all the things that come with that. So can you talk us through maybe the information that you got from the fertility specialist at that time? And also, my other question was, because you do have this condition, is a lot of this covered for you financially? Because again, it is an expensive process.
Yeah. Financial wise, no.
Okay.
In South Australia, we only have one bulk billing clinic and they only bulk bill if you have cancer. So, like I said, there was the option of getting eggs from overseas. We decided against that because we knew from the start that we would like a donor conception that was open. So we wanted our child to know that they were donor conceived and have a relationship with their donor. And with overseas, I believe they're anonymous. I'm not sure if that changes once the child's 18. So we opted against that and it was expensive. It was, I think, like 20,000 USD for 8 eggs.
Wow.
Yeah. So we opted against that and decided to use a known donor, which was tricky. So we started on Facebook. There's a Facebook group called Egg Donor Angels, I think. And that's essentially we put like a post up about yourself and say, hey, like we're looking for eggs, want to donate to us. Or likewise, people post saying, I want to donate,
Yeah.
looking for a beautiful family. So we met someone on there. We chatted with her a few times and we just decided that it wasn't the right fit. So we decided not to go with her. And then we kind of, my side of the family, there's not many girls that are still young. Most of them are all older. So they kind of say with donor, you don't want anyone over the age of 35, ideally 30 and under.
Yeah.
And ideally who already has children, just so that you know it's work. So that was tricky because there wasn't many people to ask. And the two people that I did ask said no, which is fine. But we were kind of like, well, what do we do now? We're out of options. And then February 2025, we were very fortunate to have someone known to us offer to donate. And that started the whole process.
So they just had known about your story and just came forward to you and said, hey, I want to donate my eggs. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's so good.
Yeah. I remember when she messaged me and I was in the shops getting my nails done in the chair and I cried.
Yeah,
I
of
just like,
course. Makes me want to cry for you.
I was
Yeah.
like, donate to me. Like, oh my God, it's going to happen. Yeah. It was,
What a beautiful thing to do for someone.
yeah.
Okay, so once you've got someone that wants to donate their eggs, I can imagine it still isn't straightforward. So what does the process look like after that?
Yeah. So it was February last year. And then it's paperwork. It's a donor workup. So like her blood tests, ultrasounds. You have to have genetic testing done to make sure that she wasn't a carrier and that my husband wasn't a carrier. So there was that. There was mandatory counseling. I think we had to have 3 sessions.
Mhm.
So it was like one with my husband and I, one with her and her partner, and then one with all of us together. And then it's seeing a specialist, waiting to see a specialist because they're always booked out for months. The specialist having to do like an IVF plan for her. And then by the time all of that paperwork was done, it was January/February this year that she donated.
Okay, so she just did a regular IVF cycle and egg collection, and then did they use your husband's sperm? Yeah. Okay, great. And did you just do like with IVF, did you just do the standard put the sperm and egg in a dish and that they swim to each other?
Yeah, so they didn't suggest ICSI for us because my partner had the best sperm analysis you could have, like motility, morphology, everything. He's,
Okay.
yeah, flying colors. He's great.
Yeah. How did that make you feel?
Great in the fact that I knew it would, like, make chances of conception higher, but it put a lot of pressure on me because I knew the issue was me, and it all came back to me.
Yeah. Okay, so you've gone into the IVF cycle with your egg donor. Do you want to talk us through what that looked like and what happened?
Yeah, so pretty standard. I think she had injections for, like, maybe 10 days. She responded pretty quickly,
Uh-huh.
and then I was very fortunate. So, like, because we're close, she kept me informed on the whole process and what was happening. But my clinic was great in the fact they were calling me every day to say how she was progressing. So if she had a scan, they'd call me straight away, tell me how many follicles she had. So I was kept in the loop, which was good because I was nervous.
Yeah, of course.
Nervous for her and nervous for what the outcome would be.
Yeah. Did you also find that difficult because it is someone else's body and you don't really have much control over what they do and obviously what their body does, but like you really have no control over anything when you're kind of sitting in that seat waiting? Did you find that challenging?
Yeah, I think it was hard that I wasn't there doing it. I don't know how to explain, but, like, I remember being in bed and I would say to my partner, "I wonder if she's, like, been told she can't have alcohol while she's doing a cycle. Like, I hope she's drink right now."
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, you have no control and, obviously, like, this is a trusted person, you know they're gonna do the very best for you, but at the same time, you literally have no control over those things, and your mind would go there, wouldn't it? Of, like, do they actually know all the information or, like, have they done their injection and all that kind of thing. It
Yeah.
would be hard. Yeah,
Yeah, very stressful, a lot of sleepless nights while she was doing her cycle.
yeah, I can imagine. And did you just pay for what you would pay if you were the person in the seat doing IVF? Is it the
Yeah.
same?
So you have you pay for the donor workup, which was the ultrasounds and everything, and counseling the year prior.
Yeah.
So for us, that was, I think, 4,500.
A
And then her IVF cycle was standard, so that was 10,500.
lot of money.
Yes.
Okay, so once she went to egg collection, was that a positive experience?
Yes, I was so nervous. I actually stayed downstairs waiting for her to have her egg collection, and I kept, saying to my partner, "She's not up yet, I'm scared, maybe she hasn't sent me the number because she feels upset." And then I got the ding with the photo of her hand, and she had 31 eggs retrieved.
Oh, wow, that's such a good number. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, so I think we were overly hopeful. So 31 eggs retrieved. When you're doing natural fertilization, they don't tell you how many are mature because they don't remove the outer casing of the egg. So day one, we got the phone call that 24 had fertilized, but out of those 24, 5 were abnormal. So if they progressed the blast, they'd have to be sent for biopsy at the
Yeah.
blastocyst stage. So technically, we had 18 fertilized normally. From there, we were still like, "Oh, that's amazing." It's, gonna be a good outcome. They tell you it's the 30 to 50% attrition rate, so you expect from fertilization 30 to 50% to drop off. When you put that in a calculator from 18, it's, I think, 5 to 10 embryos you'd expect. Day 3, they called, and they said they had 1 progressing, and I was like, "What the heck?"
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was miserable. I cried all day, all night. I was like, "You're joking."
Yeah.
And they couldn't give answers as to why. She just said we had to keep monitoring. And then day 4, she called to say that they were able to freeze 1, which was 1 from the day before, that there were a few, maybe 7 or so, that were still progressing but really slowly. We had to monitor those. And then on day 5, they froze 2 embryos, which was good, so that's 3 total. And then day 6, they froze one of the abnormal ones that had progressed to a blast. 4 total at the moment.
Which is a pretty good I think that's I mean, we're not told these things, and I think you have high expectations, but that's kind of, the standard, I think, after an egg collection of how many embryos to get, that's a pretty good number, but I can
Yeah.
imagine, yeah, going from a high amount, you don't really expect it to cut down the way that it does.
Yeah, I think it's hard because the embryologist was like, "That's a great number, 4 is great,"
Mm,
but it was a super high attrition rate, so she said it wasn't really a great outcome for
yeah.
how many eggs were retrieved. Yeah, it's hard. I felt guilty because I felt like I wasn't appreciative of the 4 that we had. I mean, over the moon that we had the 4, but I was also hoping for more.
They've frozen all 4 embryos, and what I think so when was that in you said February this year, right? Or Jan,
Yeah, it was
Feb?
it kind of went from end of Jan to early Feb. So, then tomorrow will be 3 weeks post egg retrieval. So, we're waiting for that PGTA testing to come
Okay.
back
Yeah,
on
they
the
have been doing
abnormal.
that.
We decided not to test the others.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of just waiting for that. We know that 2 of the embryos were a 4BB, so they're good quality. The abnormal one was a 5AB, so the best quality.
Yeah, that's good.
And then one of the embryos, the first one that was frozen, is an E. So she said it doesn't even
Okay.
fit on the nail. So we're not actually sure why they froze it because she said it's really bad quality. My specialist end of March, and that'll be to start prepping me for whatever I need to take.
Yeah, did they say you'll need to take hormones in the lead up to that?
Yeah, I think from a base point of view, I know that it'll be on Clexane, so, for blood thinning,
Yeah.
I'll aspirin, and then estrogen patches, and definitely, she said progesterone injections because I have a progesterone deficiency. That's something they've noticed with all my cycles that my progesterone just doesn't go up.
Because of the condition that you have, will you need to be on hormones for your first trimester, or how will that look? Or you don't know yet?
I think they can't really tell until, I got pregnant, but from what she's basically said, it would maybe be until, first or second trimester.
All right. So I guess earlier on you said originally you guys were strictly like no donor eggs. And then obviously you made that decision to get donor eggs. How was it making that decision and how does that sit with you now after going through all of this?
It was really hard knowing that I wasn't gonna have a baby that was my genetic material, but I kind of pondered on it and thought about it, and I said, "Yes, it would be nice to have a baby that has my genetic makeup, but what makes a child yours is how you raise them." Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was just how I mother them, how I treat them,
Yeah,
how I
for
go
sure.
day to day with them, and I'd still be growing that child in my womb, and they wouldn't be here without me carrying them.
Has this changed you in any way or shaped you in any way?
Yeah, I think I've definitely gone down into the slumps lately. I thought having the cycle done and the embryos there, I'd be really excited and happy and positive, but if anything, it's gotten worse. I don't know how to explain it. I think maybe I feel still like that failure side. Yeah, I don't really know how to explain it, but I just feel very much like a shell of a person. I think because it's been so long as well, like it's been over 4 years now. We've got embryos there, but I'm still expecting bad news because nothing has gone right for yet, and I just feel like there's no end in sight yet.
Do you feel like now that you've actually like, I guess it's one thing to talk about donor eggs and to be doing the process, but do you think that now that you're actually here and you've got them and it's kind of like everything is happening, it's kind of feeling a lot more real for you now and you're having to actually process that fully because you are now doing donor eggs that, essentially means that you won't be having, your own eggs for your child. Do you think that's part of what you're going through at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. I think, the whole lead up and the paperwork and the talk about it is one thing, but the process of actually doing it and it being real is something else. So, like, now there's the possibility that I could have a child who is donor conceived. And I already have thoughts, what if, at family events, my child loves that person more than me? What if they're like, when they're a teenager and they're rebelling, I'm like, oh, I want her as a mum, not you, kind of thing. But that's like way in the future. I need to not worry about that. Yeah. I think that's part of it. It's very real now, and I hadn't processed it before. It was all just paperwork.
Have you leaned on any tools to support you throughout this time? Have you sought counseling or anything like that?
I did a few counseling sessions with my fertility clinic, but I don't really like talking to people.
Yeah.
So mostly I just the Facebook communities, like I'm in a few donor egg pages. I have a fertility Instagram account, so I talk to a lot of girls on there, and that's been the most helpful thing.
If you could speak to your 21-year-old self right now, what would you say to her, do you think?
Oh gosh.
It's a hard question.
Yeah, I'd maybe I don't even know. I'd tell her to not be so naive.
That's so valid. Yeah.
Mhm. I think, it was good that that part of me was hopeful back then because that's given me that push to keep going. Yep. I think, 21-year-old me was very different. I was very positive, very happy, proactive. Yep.
Yeah,
I
okay.
wish I was the 21-year-old me.
Has the process that you've been through and all of the years of, I'm sure, a lot of stress and weight, affected any of your external relationships and work or anything like that?
Yeah, a lot of time off work. I was very open with both of my jobs. Like, I was very forthcoming about going through fertility treatment, so they were really supportive. Friendships, yes, because as we all know, you put your life on the back burner when you're planning a pregnancy. You don't drink, don't go out. Like I heard one of the girls say in the other episode, I'm not going to a friend's wedding this year because I'm like, what if I could be pregnant because it's in Greece? But yeah, put a lot of things on the back burner. So I feel like I've lost the last 4 years of like my young adult life.
How do you feel going into knowing that you are going to be having a frozen embryo transfer soon?
I'm excited, but excitedly reserved. So I know now. that, it might not work, but I know that there's more than one embryo we can use. So yeah, just have to be hopeful that it does work for us and hope that this is the answer for us.
Is there anything else that you wish people knew about egg donation and I guess infertility in general? Is there anything that you wish was spoken about a little bit more?
Yeah, with egg donation, I think it's more common than people think.
Okay, yeah.
And I guess I wish there was just a little bit more education on it because there's, at least in SA, there's not really many resources given to you about egg donation. It's kind of just like, yeah, Facebook and joining a Facebook group. So I wish there was maybe like even just webinars or like meetings on egg donation because, yeah, like I said, it's a lot more common and people are using it. And then I guess general fertility, my biggest thing that I wish people knew was more education on being young and infertile. I feel like it's so still 2000s coded and we're like, oh, you have sex when you get pregnant. Like, if the girl at my work had never mentioned the AMH test to me, I could have still left it for the last 4 years and not gotten tested. Like, it's literally her saying about the AMH test that I got tested. And I think it is important for women to know that it is a simple blood test. Yes, it does cost money, unfortunately, but it's a simple blood test you can get done and just, know what could happen for you, which AMH doesn't predict everything, but it is a good indicator.
And just going back to the egg donor side of things. So obviously when you decided that you wanted to find someone within Australia and someone that you knew or that you could meet, was it literally like you're off to your own devices? Is there not really anywhere other than the Facebook group, obviously, is there not anywhere else that, people can register if they want to be an egg donor, that like a website you can go on to see, find these kinds of people, or are you just really left to your own devices?
Yeah, it was pretty much someone in your family or join a Facebook group or ask friends. She literally just said,
Yeah.
like, ask friends.
Yeah. So I think that would be something that would be useful, is a website or, somewhere else that you could go to try and find these people. Because as you said, it is more common than people maybe think. So yeah. What was the name of the Facebook group again? Just for anyone who's
I think
listening that
it's
might
like
be.
Egg Donor Angels Australia and New Zealand, I think it's called.
Okay. Might try and find that and put it in the show notes too, just so people have that link if they're about to start this process. Thank you so much for everything you've spoken about today. Do you have any final advice or anything else that you wanted to mention from our chat?
Take it as it goes. Don't look to the future too much because you need to take it step by step. And with fertility, there's no textbook of how it's going to happen. So yeah, just be positive of the moment that you're in now. And yeah.
This has been The Space Between Two Lines. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and register on our website to share your story. The link is in the bio. Until next time.